Something's happening.
What's happening?
It's a countdown?
That's counting up?
It's a clock?
Who's counting? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to It's Different.
Lee hee hee.
Hoo, 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 hoo.
I'm Ryan, and that's Molly.
Before we get into everything that's going on with Taylor Nation, we wanted to ask you for a quick favor, which is going to follow us or subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts on your podcast platforms. If you're watching on YouTube, and you could go follow us or subscribe to us over there. Bonus points if you could leave us a rating or review. It seriously helps our show so much, and it will help us to continue to grow our show and reach more people. And we would be eternally grateful.
The link to do all of that will be in the description of this episode.
If you didn't see the news, wait. The only news this week is actually taking us straight to Clownelia Street. So let's just fast forward there, okay? Because in case you've missed it, Taylor Nation has been very active over the last couple of days. This all started last week when they made a post about Taylor's 13,000th day of life?
13,000th.
13,000.
Yeah. 13,000 days of Taylor Swift, hashtag.
13,000 days of Taylor. And then after that, they started posting about Taylor's first 6 albums and celebrating each of them every day with these posts that we're going to get into and break it all down for you. It started with Debut and it's continued on. And for full disclosure, we're recording this on Monday night, July 21st. Today's post was about Red. So we're assuming Tuesday will be about 1989 and Wednesday will be about Reputation. Our episodes usually come out on Wednesdays. We're going to try and get this one out earlier if we can, but just so you know, we're operating with information up until Monday night, July 21st. So the big picture of all of these posts, like I said, is that Taylor Nation has been celebrating each of Taylor's first 6 albums so far. And there are some really important things to notice of each of these posts and celebrations that relate to this countdown or a clock and what we might be counting down to or counting up to. And now it's time to get into it.
Let's get into it. All right. So to break it down, we're going to go day by day, and I'm going to tell you what happened each day and why that's relevant, and also why that backs the countdown theory. Okay?
Okay.
So we're going to start with day 13.
I'm like ready to be the student in your classroom.
Are you ready? Are you ready, kids?
Boom,
Spelling
boom,
is fun.
Boom. Yes.
Counting down is fun. Day 13, July 17th, where this chaos all began. Taylor Nation tweeted, Taylor Swift has graced this earth for 13,000 days, and the world has never been the same. Hashtag 13,000 days of Taylor Swift. Which is funny because I remember back in the day when we used to clown for Rep TV, someone had mentioned like her 13,000th day of life impending, you know, coming up, and how she might do something on that day. So instead, all we got was this tweet from Taylor Nation. It's like, cool, great, acknowledgement, move on.
Yeah, and the photo was of Taylor, young Taylor, in a cute little tie-dye shirt. And then if you swiped over on Instagram, you saw a photo of Taylor clearly during Cruel Summer from the Eras tour. So the growth in 13,000 days.
The growth. It only takes 13,000 days to become a pop superstar. 13,000 doesn't sound like that many, but obviously it is. It's 35, almost 36 years. Math.
Good job.
So then,
that was good math.
Yeah, I was like, I know when her birthday is. We're over halfway there. I know how old she is because we're the same age. Then the next day, day 12. I feel like every time I say the day, it's like the I don't know what show it is, where it's like not Law and Order, but it's like the dun dun, like when you hear like day 12. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's like day 12, July 18th. Taylor Nation tweeted again, the best thing that has ever been ours is finally home. Check out the newly updated hashtag TS the Eras Tour archive site and celebrate Taylor's first 6 eras with us. That first 6 eras will come into play later. And it's worth noting that for whatever reason, the order of the albums, so they were highlighting the archive site, which they've talked about in the past.
Since January, maybe, I think.
Since post eras. Yeah. But up until now, we didn't have like the stolen albums, like Rep, Debut, were not on there. And so for whatever reason, when they had the albums like lined up as they do, where you can click on them to deep dive into the archives, they were out of order. It's since been changed, and people, myself included, thought that was intentional, and people were starting to try to make that make sense. For whatever reason, Fearless TV and Red TV were before Folklore and Evermore, when they should be afterwards. So that was an interesting glitch.
I personally think that was a mistake. They had to fix it.
No, for sure. But it's still worth noting because some people still were like, I think there's been a glitch. And it's like, that was literally a glitch. Like, oops. Who posted that? You can still see it if you go to Taylor Nation's original tweet, like the OG photo and reel is still there. It was corrected within like 24 hours or less. And they were probably like, oh my God, who did this? Who did this? You're fired. Or they're like, this is hilarious. Now everyone's clowning. They think it means something. It means literally nothing. So that was worth noting. Then later that same day, Taylor Nation tweeted again, saying this is where it all begins. So the 13,000 were like, okay, whatever. Then the next day, it's like, okay, whatever. Archive website's been updated. Cool. Then they tweet, welcome home, self-titled. Dive into our favorite memories on the new Taylor Swift, The Eras Tour archival site. And then they follow up with a lyric saying, or they add on with a lyric saying, everything we need is finally right here by our side. And to celebrate, stream the album with us at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And this is when fans were like, are they starting a countdown? But like, we didn't know. Because maybe, but we didn't really know confirmation until the next day.
Yeah, I feel like on the first day, I didn't think about a countdown. I just thought, well, this is interesting that they're celebrating debut. Either this is going to be something about debut Taylor's version, or this is going to keep going and we're going to keep celebrating.
Right. And it's like, oh, well, they did say that they wanted us to celebrate the first 6 eras. So it was kind of a casual 6. So this is going to happen every day. But then things started to fall into place deeper as we keep going. So the one thing to note for day 12 is the lyrics they used is from track 12 on debut. I'm only me when I'm with you. And so at the time, all the clowns, myself included, were like, oh my God, it's TS12. It's like a TS12, like Easter egg, you know, track 12, not associating it with day 12. So it was like, oh, track 12. Oh my God, it's happening. And
For
also
sure.
It's like, it's her first track 12, obviously, because it was debut. So like, does that mean anything? I don't know. Like you said, is it debut Taylor's version? Is it TS12? What's happening?
Right, because there are so many lyrics that they could choose from, so many songs they can choose from. The fact that they're starting this streaming party for debut, which I don't think they've done any of this since Taylor bought her masters back. I think maybe they did a streaming party right after that, but I don't even know if they did. This might be their first streaming party. We did a streaming party, but I don't know if they did.
Tortured Poets was the last one they did, whenever the heck that was. I don't know when that was.
And then the fact that they used this lyric intentionally from the track 12, I was immediately on a TS12 clown train. It was whiplash from the debut Taylor's version clown train to the TS12 clown train.
Right. It's like, oh my God, TS12 is country. That's why it's tied into debut. It's like a double Easter egg. What does it mean? But then the next day, day 11, July 19th, Taylor Nation tweets again. Welcome home, Fearless. It's our first listen together. It's flawless. It's really something. It's our streaming party at 2 p.m. Eastern. So now we're realizing, okay, the streaming time is correlated to the album number. We had debut, 1 p.m., Fearless, 2 p.m. Cool, whatever. And then you realize that the lyrics are from the song Fearless, which is track 1. So you're like, okay, that doesn't necessarily correlate to day 11. But then you realize that they tweeted/posted at 11:46 a.m. Eastern time. And it might seem like it's reaching, but it's not. And also this is when it confirmed, people were like, okay, there's a countdown, right? Now you have 13,000, 12, track 12, 11 posted in the 11th hour, all lining up to the day. And so you're like, all right, so the next day will be day 10 if we are, again, correct and they're counting down. And so the next day, July 20th, day 10, they posted about Speak Now. Makes sense. Welcome home, Speak Now. Our place is a spot streaming next to you at 3 p.m. Those lyrics are referenced to track 7 on Speak Now on the 3rd album, Speak Now. 7 + 3 = 10. Again, if you're like, are we reaching? Fear not. Because then the next day, which leads us up to today, which I wish we had more evidence, but don't worry. I feel like pretty confident by now on day 9. Now it's been 4 days of this. I feel pretty confident to be like, nah, we're onto something. So today, July 21st, when we were recording, they posted about Red and said, welcome home, Red. We were reminiscing about you just the other day. And so this is the crazy part. Those are lyrics from Holy Ground. They also played the song Holy Ground with the post. So you're like, oh no, but Holy Ground's track 11. Oh no, we've lost the plot. Maybe it's not what we think. But then they thought they'd be sneaky. And the next line in their post says, we think that it's best if we stream at 4 p.m. Eastern today. And I'm not going to lie, I would never have thought this was a lyric because it's so basic. You're like, we think that it's best if we stream. I don't know. You're like, cool.
I think that it's best if we both stay. I
also don't really know that song, so I think maybe that's part of it.
It's so not a Ryan song.
Yeah, I was like, well, it's over. And then thank God I saw a TikTok.
It's over.
It's over. The countdown's over. Everything is a lie. We were so close. And then it's like, no, they have lyric reference to Stay, which is track 9. So what's crazy too is every single day, their Easter eggs to match the day that we think is the countdown day has been different. Today was wild. I was like, y'all are now doing 2 lyrics? 2 different songs?
2 different songs.
Just to play games? We playing games now? And I actually, when I thought about that, I know it's the same album, but I was like, it's giving mashup, you know, for the Eras tour and all that. I don't know. It's like, you have this song. That's just, I think they're just playing games. So I am very intrigued to see what the next few days entail. And so this leads us to what is happening next? What does this all leave us with?
Right, because there's so many different ways that this could play out and so many different ways that you can think about it. And we want to know what you guys think of all of this. To recap, we're counting down in these numbers going in the reverse, like Ryan's saying, potentially starting from 13 with the 13,000 day posts and reversing it 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. So that's where we're getting the counting down. Where we're getting the counting up is in time. Streaming party at 1 p.m. Yes, and albums. Streaming party at 1 p.m. for debut, 2 p.m. for Fearless, 3 p.m. for Speak Now, 4 p.m. for Red. We have to assume that Tuesday will be 5 p.m. for 1989 and Wednesday will be 6 p.m. for Reputation. That seems like a lock because those are the albums that Taylor just got back. And in Taylor Nation's post about the archive site, they specifically said, welcome home to the first 6 albums. So I think everyone at this point thinks the countdown is at least going through Wednesday with Reputation and that there will be a streaming party for the 6th album, Reputation, at 6 p.m. on Wednesday.
Yeah. For sure. That's definitely happening. But it's like, all right, I don't believe in that theory because it doesn't make sense, as we said, the day associations and start kicking it off with 13,000 days. I know they said celebrate the first 6 eras with us. I get it, but it doesn't make sense why they started us at 13. Unless, I guess the other option is that something is still happening 13 days from when that first post happened, but maybe they go radio silence between day 6 and day 13. I guess that's another option, right? Like instead of day 7, they're like the Lover era. It's just radio silence until, you know, that's
right.
Another, that doesn't manifest.
I did feel that it would make sense to do the first 6 and then on Thursday, which would be July 24th, that on Thursday, there could be an announcement about something because whether that's music or a documentary, we'll get into our theories about what this could be counting down to or counting up to, whichever way you want to say it. But I feel like an announcement could happen on Thursday. Technically, I guess it could also happen Wednesday after the Reputation streaming party, but I kind of think they're going to sit tight. Like they haven't really interacted after the streaming parties until the next day. So I think by Thursday, July 24th, we're going to know if this continues and they post about Lover or if nothing happens or if they announce something and it ends. And in that theory, I'm saying that the 13,000 day post and the rest of these are not related. Like the 13,000 day post was just them being Taylor Nation, acknowledging this random day because Taylor's been alive for 13,000 days. Of course we would celebrate that.
But what about all the other day correlations?
So I didn't know about that until you told me last night. And at the time,
people are talking about it.
At the time that I was trying to read up on some of these notes that you had left me, I felt like specifically the Fearless one was a bit of a stretch for me. The tweeted at 11 a.m. whatever Eastern time.
That's the only one I don't like.
Yeah.
The rest I feel good about. That's the only one I'm like, that's reaching. But
the Speak Now one was also a bit of a stretch for me because it's like track 7 plus the third album. You have to add those up together. But the fact that today with Red, that they quoted 2 different songs and made a point to quote the track 9 after people have started to point out this pattern, that's the only thing that could start to sway me. And so I think I will feel more confident either way tomorrow once we know what they post about 1989.
Dude, I keep saying that every day. Every day I'm like, I need more. Yeah. Just do it one more time. Do it one more time. We're celebrating this like clown connection. It's absurd, but truly, it's like rolling the dice. Give me a track 9. Or give me like a 9.
It's
and
like
then
the
you get it and you're like, yes.
with me when it's like,
dude,
she is doing the ball machine and announcing a random track. It's like, what are they going to do tomorrow? Are they going to break the pattern? Is everything that we're acknowledging here going to be out the window by the time our episode comes out? We never know. We're going to do our best to turn this around as quickly as possible so that it doesn't get outdated.
Everyone's like, all right, tomorrow we're looking for an 8, everybody. Look for an 8 in the post. And it is fun, but I will be wrecked if it doesn't manifest, at least if it keeps going. Because I'm like, come on. Today was wild. Today I thought it was over. And then thank God someone else was like,
I would have told you that it was a lyric from Stay, Stay, Stay.
Okay, good.
And again, it gets confusing because we record on Mondays. When we're saying tomorrow, we mean Tuesday. And we're going to try and get this episode out on Tuesday if we can. So it'll be today. But just know that we're talking into a time vortex right now. And that's sometimes what happens with podcasts.
This is the past us. Past us, future us. Future us has no idea. 2 other things to note for the 6-day theory is that people have started to notice that the photos they've been using for each of these posts have been 3 photos from tour associated with the album. So Fearless, Speak Now, Red, Debut. Obviously she didn't have a tour, but still of her performing. And they've noticed that specifically, I think starting with Fearless, that the photo was edited where the dress is darker. It's a moodier vibe. Red as well. Like, so people have noticed that. And so people are clowning for a rep Volt track. And that's what we're getting at the end of the Wednesday. That's where the rep clowns are coming in because they're like, why are these so dark and moody? And why are they editing these photos like this? And it's like, I didn't notice that.
And that's so interesting to me
weird.
Because I'm so off the Reputation clown train that I never even considered, like, the very first debut thing I did think about debut Taylor's version, but nowhere in this was I starting to think about Reputation Taylor's version, Vault tracks, or anything until my boss, shout out to Sarah because she listens to this. So actually, she's my former boss, RIP. She's moved on. She texted me, do we think we're getting rep Vault tracks at the end of this? I'm like, I hadn't even thought about that. And the fact that the Summer I Turned Pretty episodes come out on Wednesdays, there could be some sort of new song or Taylor's version of a song that we already have, but that we haven't heard the Taylor's version in the Summer I Turned Pretty.
We will luckily know if the Summer I Turned Pretty has any correlation to the 6-day theory before Taylor Nation tweets, because it comes out at technically 3 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. Mm-hmm. So I will be up at midnight because thank God for the West Coast. I was going to watch anyway, but now I'm definitely watching and I'm going to be like listening because that also, I feel like if nothing happens, then to me, it adds to the 12-day theory. And so my pitch to why or 13-day theory, I'll call it. I was calling it 12-day for a while because, the 12 days, but we're just going to, it's 13 days since the 13,000 tweet. If they count up or down, whatever, if they celebrate all 11 albums, that would conclude on Monday, July 28th, after an 11 p.m. Tortured Poets stream, which that alone seems wild. Don't think they've ever streamed that late. That seems kind of ballsy to be like, everyone, 11 p.m., let's stream Tortured Poets.
Yeah, other than an album release at midnight. Yeah, they don't usually do it that late.
It would be aggressive, so it seems unlikely, but just roll with it, okay? 13 days after when this all started, the 17th, when the countdown began, is Wednesday, July 30th, which this note is more important, right? So it's like, okay, all the albums are done on Monday, great. Which means you have that gap day of Tuesday of like, could there be an announcement on Tuesday that leads us into that 13th day aka the surprise. And so the fact that this Tuesday popped up, it got me thinking, which this is my surprise. This is my surprise clown nugget for Molly. Not discussed. Hopefully it blows her mind as much as I was hoping.
Ryan has had me waiting for this clown nugget for days. She had an epiphany around Saturday and said, I'm saving it for the pod.
If the album countdown ends on Monday, what would happen on that Tuesday? Why is Tuesday relevant? Well, just a very fun fact. In the past, recently, not that long ago, on Tuesdays, Taylor has announced 3 different times on GMA on a Tuesday. Coincidence? I guess. You have the Eras Tour in November of 2022 was a Tuesday on GMA. The Eras Tour book, October 2024, Tuesday. Taylor Week leading up to the Eras Tour movie coming out on Disney Plus, she announced it on Monday, and then starting on Tuesday, every day leading up to the release on Disney Plus.
Oh, is that when we got a snip? What did they do? They gave us like a snippet of acoustic songs. Yeah.
Yes. So she announced it on Monday and said, like, tune in every day this week, blah, 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 to find out what the acoustic sets are, the reveal for the Disney Plus.
That was
starting on Tuesday.
That was so funny because if anyone has been listening to us since then, that was hilarious. Because I thought to myself, why are we doing a countdown for this? We all know what the acoustic song options are because she recorded in LA. So we know what surprise song she sang then. Whereas Ryan didn't put 2 and 2 together and said, what do you think they're going to be?
I know.
Let me tell
Molly's rational brain came in so hard. It was so disappointing. I was like, oh my God, you are right. You're like, well, when did she record? When did she film? Yeah.
Anyway.
So that's the fun fact about Tuesday. I'm just saying, coincidence, probably.
That's such a good note.
Most likely.
If you had asked me what day of the week those announcements happened, I would have thought it was a Wednesday for some reason. I don't know why. I've always pictured like the Eras Tour announcement. I remember where I was and I thought it was a Wednesday.
Dude, I don't even know how I thought about that. I was just like, yeah, it led me into this rabbit hole. And I was like, well, that's crazy. That would be the perfect time to announce which we will get to very shortly, of what we think this announcement could be. It just makes sense. And so if Monday is ending with the 11 p.m. stream for Tortured Poets, it's giving Mimi at midnight, because what's next? So Tuesday, the next day, say you have this announcement on GMA, right? I'm really boosting up, really making it unrealistic, whatever. Say she has this announcement on GMA or wherever she has the announcement. It doesn't have to be GMA. Just say she announces something. Even if she doesn't announce something, here's the kicker. Tuesday at midnight, what do we get?
TS12?
No. What happens at midnight on Tuesday, technically Wednesday?
I don't know. What happens?
The Summer I Turned Pretty episode. Oh. And remember how we thought it was super weird that they changed the time, or that they told us that the episodes were going to be dropping at 12 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah.
I don't know how that plays into this, but it just seemed like a weird coincidence. And so it's like how people have talked about how this week they're like, is there going to be an announcement, or is Taylor going to debut a song during The Summer I Turned Pretty? That's not when it's happening. It would happen next week. At the end, day 13 is the day that The Summer I Turned Pretty airs. And it happens at midnight. So that's what I mean. So that's like all coming back into play. And I was like, I'm sorry, but that outcome makes the most sense.
And then it could be a new TS12 song, like I've been saying all along.
It could be anything. I know. It could be anything. I gasped. That was like the kicker. What are the odds that this elusive, alleged countdown started on the 17th and 13 days later is July 30th, aka episode 4 of The Summer I Turned Pretty? I don't know. Seems a little too coincidental.
And if anyone doesn't believe us about the fact that Taylor would literally put new music in this show, she's done it 2 times before, 3 times. With This Love Taylor's version in the trailer, with Back to December Taylor's version in a trailer, and with Delicate Taylor's version in the actual episode. These were all surprises. No one knew that this was going to happen. And then, boop, here we go. Those are Taylor's versions of songs we already had. But at the time, getting those Taylor's version songs were really big deals. The fact that we got Delicate Taylor's version back in August of 2023, and here we are in the summer of 2025 with no rap, Taylor's version is crazy.
The only thing that bothers me is, as perfect as that scenario is that I just teed up, is I am clowning for an Eras Tour documentary, which I think a lot of people are, because it makes sense with, let's celebrate our first 6 eras. Like, we're going back in time. If we do celebrate all 11 albums, that kind of makes sense to be like, and boop, an Eras Tour documentary. Like, we're getting all these photos from tour. She's reclaimed her masters. Like, it makes sense. But I mean, TS12 still technically makes sense, because if you finish up all the albums and you're like, wow, what a history, what a discography, here's a tease for what's next.
Yeah, we'll get more into if we think it's a documentary or TS12 in a second, but I have to say that it is also so funny to me that Mimi at Midnight and the album Midnights, you know, there's all of that, but now TS12 and the way this countdown is going, if we do progress in time, it's like Midnight now could represent like with the 12th album, and that's, as a Midnight's lover, that hurts, but it also kind of works perfectly that her 12th album, that she can just do something like this 1 p.m., 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m. and like lead you all the way to a midnight release of something. It's really cool.
I never thought about that till just now. Like right before you said it, I was like, wait, 12 a.m. 12th album. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. So again, playing into This Summer I Turned Pretty, I don't know the whole West Coast, East Coast thing, why that matters, but it's
that is interesting.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why it would have to be at 3 a.m. Eastern time.
Because her albums always come out
at midnight Eastern.
Yeah.
I really don't want to have to get up at 3 a.m. the next 2 Wednesdays. I can't.
You should just like keep your phone on and I can alert you.
This is what I used to do during Midnight's Mayhem with me. When Taylor would announce a new track at midnight every night, I literally would fall asleep, set an alarm for 11:58, roll over, watch the video, and then try to go back to sleep. Which after nights like Karma or whatever, I'm like, how do I sleep now? We have a song named Karma coming.
Well, now you have to watch a whole freaking episode. I think we're marked safe this week. Truly. I do. I don't feel it. It feels premature. I don't know. But I also don't see them streaming Tortured Poets at 11 p.m. So I'm so conflicted, you know?
If they stream Tortured Poets at 11 p.m., it's going to go into the next day too. Because are they just going to stream the standard edition, or are we doing the double album? That's a lot of time.
Or just doing the Eras Tour. You could just do the Eras Tour version.
Yeah. That is another thing to note about all of these posts, is that they included hashtags that related back to the Eras Tour. I don't think we called that out specifically yet, and so that's more evidence to me of a documentary, is like hashtag Fearless Era TS the Eras Tour, or hashtag self-titled era TS the Eras Tour. There was no self-titled era on the Eras Tour. What are we talking about?
Just rude. Oh, I definitely don't think I noticed that. Right. So I'm hung up on the countdown regardless. Again, them starting at 13 and every day manifesting the number. Like, if it keeps going, if the next 2 days, 1989 and Rep manifest an 8 and a 7, come on.
Yeah. Because I still do feel like there's a chance that this ends after Wednesday and something happens this Thursday.
Yeah, I'm not clowning for that, but it's very possible.
It would be way more fun if it's a longer countdown, but yeah.
Yeah, or like if something happens Thursday and then maybe we get it next at the end of the countdown.
I'm saying I'm going full diabolical, like folklore announcement when you wake up on Thursday morning and you find out an album's dropping that night. Part of the main reason why I like the 6-day countdown is because it leaves a Thursday for an announcement into a Friday.
You know what I just thought about? A thing to note is that day 7, sorry, it's confusing because we're counting down and up. Day 6, album 7, Thursday, is Folklore's anniversary. How diabolical if instead of let's celebrate the Lover era, they pull a Folklore move. And like you said, they announce like TS12's coming tonight at midnight on Folklore's anniversary, which is what happened for Folklore. Like 5 years ago,
that's
crazy.
We woke up and found out that an album was dropping that night.
How fun to do that again on Folklore's anniversary. That would be so poetic, because I was over here worried maybe this whole 13-day countdown doesn't make sense, because what are they going to do? Are they going to celebrate Lover on Folklore Day? But then I also noted that they skipped Speak Now's anniversary recently because we had the merch drop a few days later. So like they're not above changing stuff up. So they could ignore Folklore and be like, anyway,
here are all the scenarios for this Thursday. Okay. Thursday, July 24th.
24th.
One option is the countdown stops with Reputation on Wednesday, and on Thursday, nothing happens. The other is that on Thursday, they announce something. Taylor announces something. Like as if Taylor Nation would announce something that Taylor hasn't announced. Or Lover gets celebrated and the countdown / count up is continuing to cover all the albums. Or they just like do the diabolical option, which is like they just mess up the whole countdown and celebrate Folklore's anniversary and like nothing else happens.
Dude.
They're like, all right, we celebrated the first six eras. Go check out the archive site whenever you have time. All right, the next day they're like, happy 5-year anniversary, Folklore. And then nothing comes out of any of this.
Or people have talked about a merch drop.
Yeah.
They're like, we said celebrate the first 6 eras. What's wrong with you guys? And we're like, but the numbers, the math. They're like, oh, we didn't even realize. It's like, oh my God, come on. I'm going to lose it. I fear for that being the reality as well.
The other thing we have to note before we get into what exactly we're clowning for and more info there is that there's also a third option for this countdown.
Which I don't buy into this, but this is the most... It's worth noting, though.
Yeah. Like, hopefully you're following us, okay? The 6-day countdown would just be Taylor's first 6 albums that were stolen from her and she now owns. The 13-day countdown, whatever you want to say it, starts with the 13,000 days tweet, goes through all of Taylor's discography, and then ends after Tortured Poets. Or there's a secret third option, which is more of a 15-day countdown, because that would include Taylor's original albums and the Taylor's versions. So we've been presenting all of this as if there's no Taylor's versions. But if you were to include the Taylor's versions, that changes the timeline, such as you go from Folklore, Evermore, then to celebrate Fearless Taylor's version, and then Red Taylor's version, then Midnights, then Speak Now Taylor's version, 1989 Taylor's version, then Tortured Poets.
I guess technically it's a 16-day theory if you're counting the 13,000 that launched all of this. But either way, I did the math. Where does it land us? It would end on August 1st. And if you know, you know, the next day is August 2nd. AKA the Karma Coffee Cup Day, which I'm like, we still talking about this? AKA blue nail on the 8 and the black nail on the 2. AKA an Easter egg that is manifested for the 1989 Taylor's version and never manifested for Rep because it's gone forever. And so people have also said that 8 to August 2nd is National Summit Day. So they think that because Taylor's reclaimed all of her albums and the lyrics in Karma mention taking all of her friends to the summit.
I was about to say, what does Karma do, Ryan? Karma takes all my friends to the summit.
I'm sure there's also Karma truthers out there that think 8-2 will be not TS12, but Karma. So I'm sure there's people that think that. So what?
I just had a light bulb moment.
Oh my God. Based on the most goofy clown note of all of them.
Absolutely is the goofiest thing ever. Karma takes all my friends to the summit. Karma is the guy on the Chiefs. Come straight home to me.
Like, oh my God. AKA TS12?
AKA TS12.
Oh my God. Come on. We've never been right about these dang days that all should have added up. National Snake Day and freaking the TTBD upside down. Like, no. This, I'm going to say, is just a coincidence. Because also, there's no way, it wouldn't make sense to bring in Taylor's versions, period.
I disagree.
All right, welcome back, Fearless. Taylor's version. Like, let's do a streaming party again, but this time Taylor's version.
Yeah, they're 2 different albums. Why not?
I know, but no. Absolutely not.
I feel like if you leave out the Taylor's versions, that's rude.
Taylor's versions aren't part of the conversation. We're talking about the stolen albums.
Alex has barged into the room.
This just in.
Alex has run into the room to contribute clowning.
This just in. We have a live update from our Chiefs correspondent. Alex, take it away.
Which this is not related to the Chiefs.
That's still your name.
I was thinking if it's the first 6 albums and we're thinking about something it could be aside from TS12 and merch, one thing that would be cool to announce would be an official repress of the vinyls of the original 6. I don't know if that's been mentioned out in the ether.
I was going to save that for when we're talking about what we're clowning about, but...
All right. Well, then this is a great transition into it because I came up with that all on my own.
I haven't heard that.
Which I think would be really cool because you're playing into the first 6 albums and it would end on a Thursday and you could pre-order, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, not to hijack the podcast, continue with your rundown. Bye-bye.
A reprint's just like when they change up the look of the vinyl, right?
It's both that and the fact that if you were to go, the day that Taylor bought her masters, if you were to go and buy Reputation that day, it's still the printed version of it would have still said Big Machine Records. And they should be reprinting these to be like owned by Taylor Swift and printed under, I think it'll be printed probably under Universal Music Group, but that with the ownership rights under her. So the artwork could even still be the same. It doesn't have to be rebranded. It's just literally the little fine print of saying like who owns it and who controlled the production of it.
One cool thing they could do though is include as bonus tracks live versions of songs or mashups that relate to those albums, right? So you can still give something new that's kind of like a layup, it proverbially.
Yeah, you'd have to give something new for sure.
Yeah.
New photos probably, I feel like.
Or like we've talked about, they make the actual production sound of those first 6. They raise the audio quality too. So it's like a remastered version and it's also owned by Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be here for that. But then would we get that on streaming? I don't know. That'd be tricky. How do you re-put out Reputation, not Taylor's version, but not the OG?
Honestly, they could probably just update it on streaming.
Yeah, probably.
Just the same way she erased, hey, kids, spelling is fun from me. It's like she never released a new version of me without spelling is fun. You just... Boop.
True, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Alex is back.
Typically, remastered albums are separate releases totally and entirely on Spotify and Apple Music.
That's true.
Because they're enhanced audio and they are different. I actually think it won't be remastered. It'd be a lot to do in a very short amount of time, and it takes a long time to reproduce those albums. So if anything, I think they would be like represses, modern versions with the new branding without Big Machine, and then maybe a bonus track or 2. That'd probably be the most they could do. and
there's so many extra questions there too, because for example, for 1989 and many of Taylor's albums, there's different versions of just those. There's original 1989 and then there's deluxe 1989. Not even talking about Taylor's version, just OG and deluxe. New Romantics, Wonderland, You Are in Love wasn't on the OG 1989. It's bonus deluxe version, whatever you want to call it. So
yeah,
there's a lot of random things like that I do think could happen. Another option is the concert films, because as we've been talking about, they're intentionally using all of these photos for all these posts are from the tours. So what if, hey, Reputation 1989 read all of these tours and their films that are out there, but not actually out there. They're all the bootleg versions because they've been taken down from wherever they were available on before. What if it's bringing all of those back and putting them on Disney Plus or whatever? Or you could just buy them. Like, I'd be down to just own the digital copy of the Reputation Stadium tour.
True. I didn't think about the correlation of the tour photos being that tour. You know, it's like you think so much the Eras tour, and it's like, huh.
Yeah, because they could be using photos from the Eras tour from those eras, but they're not.
Right. Then why are we getting the hashtag Eras tour?
I don't know.
Why are they doing this? Is it because for debut, we wouldn't have gotten anything from the Eras tour, so they didn't want it to be weird? I don't know. Right? Like, but if they did self-titled TS the Eras tour, when that didn't exist, clearly that doesn't matter. So, and why are they editing the photos? And then someone was like, there's been a lot of guitar photos.
Yeah, I think part of the hashtag thing too is that part of the point of the archive site was that fans could submit their photos. If you dressed up in that era, and like I submitted ones of us dressed, like you dressed in Tortured Poets or me dressed as whatever, people could submit those. So you could be dressed as Debut at the Eras tour, and then that could be in that archive section of the website. But I do think they've done it, and then like honestly, claps for how confused Taylor Nation has made us, and how simple of an execution of just a couple of posts, a couple of days in a row, and there are so many possibilities that could come out of this. It's crazy.
Well, because it's giving 5 holes in the fence. For those who don't know, We've gotten countdowns before. The only weird thing is that at the time, that was Taylor giving us the countdown. So not to discredit anything from Taylor Nation, but back then when we were leading up to the Lover album, that was Taylor giving us an elusive countdown. Taylor, I don't know what she's doing. So Taylor Nation's just out here to their own devices and it's all up to them. And honestly, at this point, I don't trust them because they have done some wild stuff and they've led us astray so many times. This is definitely the wildest. For sure. I still am mad about the 1989 Eras Tour outfits comment that they made that just spiraled everyone for the whole tour of, oh, so she has this many outfits left. And people did the math and they're like, that's not right. They added like they're one more than it should have been. What does it mean? And it was this whole thing.
Right. I mean, there are so many things like why did Taylor stream or Taylor/Taylor Nation stream the surprise song set that one random night when she's saying, I don't want to live forever in dress?
Yeah.
Why did they go live on Instagram that night? There are so many unanswered questions that we'll never know.
And after messing up the website archive album order, as we mentioned in the episode, it's like they just be doing stuff and be like, oops. And it spiraled us. Because like, I'm not going to lie, when it was out of order, I was like, what does it mean? Why is Fearless and Red in the wrong spot? What does it mean? And it's like, it doesn't mean anything. They just messed up.
Another note that I want to add for you that I saw right before we started recording is that remember right before the Eras Tour started, when we got the unreleased tracks that we've talked about recently of All the Girls You Loved Before and Safe and Sound and that group of songs. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So we got 4 songs.
Mm-hmm.
Someone posted that tweet again today from Taylor Nation, and their phrasing was something along the lines of, we're counting down, or the countdown is at 1 because the Eras Tour started the next day. Like for the very first time, very first ever Eras Tour show. They're like, the countdown is still on, but here's like this now. And so they gave unreleased tracks and they used the phrase countdown. So what if we're getting more unreleased tracks like Need?
Oh man. After just talking about that, that'd be wild. Why would they say that? Well, yeah, I guess, I mean, the countdown, like until the Eras Tour starts, that's just like more literal.
So there's a lot of random things. Obviously, this could also just be a merch drop.
I think most people are going to riot if either nothing or a merch drop. We're going to lose it. All right. Unless the only merch drop that would make any of this okay-ish would be like the rep cardigan. That's it.
I just don't think we're gonna get a rep cardigan until we get the rep vault tracks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I'm wearing my rep merch today for anyone who's watching on video, so I'm trying to manifest, you know.
And I'm wearing black, but that's normal. And a cardigan.
So the obvious things, those are all little things that could come out of this. The obvious big 2 things are a documentary or TS12. And the documentary, I've been saying all along that I think a documentary would pretty much pick up shortly after Miss Americana, that it would include a lot of the re-record process and the Eras Tour.
And people are saying the Masters.
And the Masters.
In hindsight, it's like, that's probably why we haven't gotten it yet, because she had to add that on. So brilliant. If we truly have any of that in the making, like, it's going to be insane, because Miss Americana was so freaking good and so insightful into like Taylor's life. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's definitely happening, because I don't know if that's now or later, but because as we talked about, like all the footage, all the cameras, it's out there, it's happening. When? Now feels like a good time, you know?
Right. A camera crew was following her closely during the tail end of the Eras Tour in a way that wasn't the same with the US leg, for example. Following her around backstage, getting shots of her family, Travis, things like that. And then, of course, the final nights in Vancouver were all filmed.
Right. So that gives us the Eras Tour movie / Eras Tour doc rumors, or both.
Or a series. I'm still clowning for it to be a series. Like, give me a lot of content, because they fit so much into Miss Americana. You know, it covered multiple years worth of Taylor's life. And in that, she released 1-ish album while they were recording. You know, she was recording Lover, but it was kind of in between the Rep and Lover eras, with also giving you a lot of context about Taylor growing up and stuff like that, and just her life in general. But so much has happened in these last couple of years since Miss Americana came out that I don't see how it could fit into one movie.
Yeah, no, unless it's 3 hours long. Like the Eras Tour movie all over again.
Well,
or 2.5 or whatever that was.
A lot of people also think that if there is a documentary, that somehow the phrase welcome home could be a title, could just be involved in the promotion. Again, tying it back to the Masters and the Eras Tour and the Taylor's versions. Like the main theme of all of that is like, welcome home, welcome to the Eras Tour. And that is what Taylor Nation has been putting in all of these posts. Welcome home debut, welcome home fearless, welcome home speak now. I digress.
Which is why the 6-day theory also has, you know, more traction because they can't say welcome home lover.
Right.
I mean, they can, but
that'll
like,
be interesting to see how they phrase it if we get a lover promotion. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it was just 2 days from now. I need to know. And of course, then we have our very final clown nuggets of just some other stuff going on in the clown world relating to TS12. We've got another weird slip up of someone talking about, you know, music that we know nothing about. So Hits Daily Double, it's what are they? They're like a news.
They kind of have their finger on the pulse of music news, but it's not always substantiated. It could just be rumors. You know, they're not, I wouldn't say that they're a credible source, but they also do get some things right. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I did try to look it up and figure it out, and that was my consensus.
Yeah. So you're like, who is that? It's like, I don't know. I just know what the Swifties are on it. How people see this stuff, I don't know. I feel like someone out there has like anytime someone mentions Taylor, they get like an alert. I don't know. But they originally wrote talking about like music hits, whatever.
What's coming up?
More?
Yeah. What's
happening?
Coming up?
What's in the... Yeah. They said, what's more, seismic rumblings of a new Taylor set. Also set. It's like,
yeah, it's an interesting word. Yeah.
Keep the Republic team as aggressive as ever. And you're like, what is going on? So it's like Republic, that's her music label, Universal Music Group, aka Republic Records. And of course, the Swifties found out, and they're like, what are they talking about? And then they changed it to say, and there's always Taylor. So it's like, oh, here's all these artists, here's what's going on. And then there's Taylor.
After saying there were seismic rumblings. And this was like an article. It wasn't a social media post or something. It was in an actual article that they ended up going back and editing it. It's giving a couple months ago when that random horse derby had to change that they were auctioning off tickets to Taylor's next tour. And they're like, there's no tour.
And it's giving the DJ slip up that UMG, her own record label, accidentally like connected her to making new music with this like Swedish DJ producer.
Yeah.
That's what it made me think about. I was like, what is going on with these like retractions of like, oops, didn't mean to say that. Nobody knows.
How come none of this happened for Tortured Poets? You know, like it was so on lock. No, there's been things that have leaked before for sure, but TTPD, that was all such a pure surprise. Same with
I think it happened so fast.
Yeah.
I think it was like, I'm doing Tortured Poets. It's happening right now. Just get it out there. Whereas TS12, like, she's sitting on it, dude. It's been clocked for a while now. She has been done with it for a while. That's what I'm called. Like, it's July. Okay. She's been long done with that. It was probably finished while she was on the Eras tour. Let's be freaking honest.
I feel like she would have wanted to wait for the Eras tour to end because there could be a You're on Your Own Kid type song, or Long Live actually is a much better example because You're on Your Own Kid isn't about the tour. It just kind of became the song of the tour. But Long Live was written about her performing on tour. And I feel like there could be songs like that encapsulating her experience or getting her masters back. It's like the reverse My Tears Ricochet. It's like now she has it all back.
True. She's like, well, let's add one more song.
The other interesting thing to note of just misinformation is back when in May when Look What You Made Me Do, Taylor's version, premiered in The Handmaid's Tale. I mean, premiered, it was the third time we'd heard it. But remember that UMG tweeted, this is our first look at Reputation Taylor's version. And then they deleted it. And we were all like, what happened there? Well, Taylor's team probably said, excuse me, we've never told you there's a Reputation Taylor's version because there's not. Take it down.
Yeah. They're about to find out very soon that it doesn't exist. Yeah. So just, and it's like, how does her own record label not know? What is going on?
Well, the Masters deal probably didn't even really involve them. So that's probably why.
She's just out here doing what she wants. That's what makes me nervous. I'm like, is anything even happening? And is Taylor Nation just on their own island too? where she's like, there's no countdown. Nothing's happening. Y'all have fun. Who knows? Again, the fact that Taylor's not involved in this, I can't remember the last time Taylor Nation teed something up that led to something.
It was Tortured
Right?
Poets. I mean, the site change and the back-end fetch error 321 and all of these
But
different
what
things
did they
that day.
do?
They were acknowledging that stuff throughout the day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes me feel better because I'm like, when have they actually been involved? But okay. And then, of course, the final weird thing, TS12 related, is in the recent Speak Now merch drop. There was a really cute, like, black denim jacket, which is actually like the only one that I actually liked, with patches on it. And one of the patches was a heart with an arrow through it. And someone tweeted about the details of the jacket, and Taylor Nation replied, "Look at the details," with clapping emojis in between. Like, look at the details. And people were like, wait, was this a command? Because they have now found all of these ties to this heart and arrow, thinking it relates to TS12.
Yep. I mean, no notes. How perfect would it be? The archer, Taylor's the Sagittarius archer. Travis does the archer move because he's in Arrowhead, and the fact that there have been Republic Records like commented on one of Taylor Nation's posts
On the 13,000 post, nonetheless, the one that started the countdown, they posted the heart and arrow emoji. Why? Irrelevant. Weird. 13,000 days celebrating Taylor Swift. Heart emoji with the arrow. For a second, I was like, well, maybe it's because there were no other emojis to use, heart emojis to use that weren't color coded. That's not true. There's all different types of hearts. There's like the little pink heart. There's, well, I guess that'd be lover, but there's like the little double flutter heart.
I actually checked this. The only colored heart that doesn't represent an album, that's just a singular heart, is orange.
But on the phone though, there's other hearts, like types of hearts. Because my logic was like, maybe they just didn't use a color coded one because that would have been, God forbid, they can't do that. So those are off limits. So it's like, what's left? It's like, but there were other heart emojis.
But why would you put a heart with an arrow through it on a post celebrating Taylor's 13,000th day of life?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't
make sense.
Also, how often do they comment period? Republic Records, it's like,
I don't know.
Excuse me?
Yeah. The other thing that I find interesting about this whole heart emoji arrow going through it theory is tying it back into some of the other things that people have speculated about with TS12. And it's all just pure speculation, but that it could be a Lover 2.0 because we think that could be a similar vibe. And the fact that they repressed the Lover Live from Paris vinyl earlier this year, but changed the color a little bit. And we felt like the new color scheme could potentially match our vibes for what we think TS12 could be, with more of like an orangey sunset, sunrise type vibe rather than the Lover pink. Go ahead. I see that I saw something cross your brain.
So I thought the same thing. I associated it to Lover as soon as I saw the heart and the arrow, because it does date back to the, like you just said, the Lover era, especially like in the You Need to Calm Down music video. There's like the bullseye. There's like a lot of arrows and obviously pink hearts and all of that stuff. The fact that the day after the 6-day theory ends, it's would be celebrating Lover. The Lover era is Thursday. So instead of celebrating the Lover era, what if?
They're like, we're actually not going to celebrate Lover. We're going to move on from that. And we're going to go straight to TS12.
I mean, maybe the association, what are the odds? You know, it's like instead of Lover, it's like how perfect. It's like that we would have celebrated Lover, but we're not because it's irrelevant. We said 6 eras and then boom.
We're never walking Cornelia Street again. Straight on to TS12. The Arrowhead is leading us home to TS12.
Dude. Just when we started at the beginning of this, I'm like, the 6-day theory doesn't track. And I'm like, you know, you can make it make sense. We made it all make sense.
We have.
So we've covered our bases. This way, if any of it happens, you heard it here first. One of these things might happen. Maybe. We've been recording for an hour and a half. Alex is going to have his work cut out for him to get this episode turned around as quickly as humanly possible. Our episodes usually come out on Wednesdays, but if we can get it out earlier, we will. At this point, since we've been recording for this long and thrown this much out there, I don't know how it's going to be out earlier than Wednesday, but we're going to try. And on that note, we do have a scheduling update for next week. Okay, this is kind of hilarious, but whenever we are going to have scheduling issues or whatever, we always work extra hard to give you guys something, even if it's not an episode of
Ryan and I recording together. So sometimes it might be me solo. Sometimes Ryan and I will record something in advance for the following week. Well, for next week, Alex and I are on vacation. It's like our 1 week of vacation this year. And we had said, we're just going to take a week. Nothing's happening. We're just going to take the week. We're not even going to put out something else as an alternate. We're just going to take the week. And then Taylor Nation started this freaking countdown. So we're not going to have a regularly scheduled episode next week. But whether something goes down on Thursday, July 24th, whether it happens the following week around the 30th, the 31st, Karma Coffee Cup Day on 8/2, we're going to stay on our toes. We're going to bring our stuff with us. And Ryan and I will get on a live stream as soon as humanly possible whenever anything happens. So just know that we will do our best, but that we are not home.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram at ithitsdiffpod, where we will be keeping you posted in our absence from the episode.
Yes, we'll go live on YouTube as quickly as we possibly can, and then we'll turn it around and post it to our audio formats right after. So subscribe button on YouTube so that you don't miss it, and follow us on any podcast platforms, because like we said at the beginning of the episode, it helps us a lot. And if any of this ties into the Summer I Turned Pretty, as we've thrown out there, that'll be interesting too. We talked about the Summer I Turned Pretty last week with Amir on his channel. If you missed it and you want to go see us break down the first 2 episodes, that was really fun. And we're definitely going to do that again with Amir. We haven't picked what the next episodes will be that we break down yet. We're going to wait a couple of weeks. But, you know, if new music drops and we need to get on with Amir to talk about the Summer I Turned Pretty, that's an option too. All options are on the table.
We're just standing by, literally. It's on you, Taylor Nation. Your move.
If you've made it this far, thank you for clowning with us. And I feel like we should end it the way we started. Who's counting?
1, 2, 3.
Bye.
And all the pieces fall
right into place.